Hey, welcome in. Now, I don't really understand why somebody would want to put a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week surveillance system of themselves in their own home. You know, having something that's recording everything that you do and say, and then that being sent off to some server somewhere. You don't have access to it, but somebody else does. I don't know. I don't really get that. It just seems insanely creepy and dystopian. Why would anybody be comfortable with that? I don't. I mean, is the convenience of these things really so worth it? You can't just get up and like turn off a lamp yourself, like you need to have this thing constantly monitoring you so that you don't have to perform the smallest of tasks. I don't know. I just think it's a bit weird, and also just creepy too, right? Creepy. I like having privacy. I don't want to be surveilled all the time. I want to be able to speak openly without worrying that what I'm saying is being recorded. You know, like having a conversation where you're not constantly self-editing yourself so you can actually work through ideas, say, with a friend or a family member, right? And don't forget, too, I mean, attitudes that are totally acceptable right now, tomorrow might be like the worst thing anybody's ever said, right? I mean, the culture is shifting so far left so quickly, moving towards this leftist authoritarian dogma that you really have no guarantee that something that is just totally fine, saying something that's just totally unobjectionable right now, there is no guarantee that's not going to be just horrific tomorrow. Like, what kind of monster would say that? Something like, I don't think we should burn books. I think that's still okay to say right now. I think, but I'm pretty sure there's plans to turn that into hate speech anytime soon. Anyway, we get to the articles from Wired. Meet the star witness, your smart speaker. How could you betray me? How could you betray me? I gave you a home, I gave you electricity and Wi-Fi. But anyway, it says requests are rising from law enforcement for information on the devices, which can include internet queries, food orders, and overheard conversations. And if you say to yourself, why are my conversations being recorded? Well, it's because you put a surveillance machine into your house. And that's what they do. I mean, doesn't it feel like 1984 with the, what they call telescreen, in every house, just monitoring 24/7? It seemed like a bad idea when I first read 1984, and it still seems like a bad idea now. One-way screens, I'm all for that. Two-way screens, that are watching you? No, not a big fan. Now, this is also not a pro-crime video either. I'm against crime. But I guess this is one of those, weighing freedom against safety things. Because, thinking about it, I feel like governments have a history of abusing power and repressing people when they get the chance. Let's see, what does it say here? It says, earlier this month, Amazon said it had received more than 3,000 requests from police for user data in the first half of this year. Complied almost 2,000 times. That was a 72% increase in requests from the same period in 2016, when Amazon first disclosed the data, and a 24% jump in the past year alone. Let's see. There's something comforting here, though. It says, in an emailed statement, an Amazon spokesperson said the company, quote, objects to overbroad or otherwise inappropriate demands from law enforcement and referred Wired to its policy on government requests. A Google spokesperson also referred Wired to its updated policy on requests. So, of course, the big tech companies are very, very concerned about regular people, and overbroad or otherwise inappropriate demands. They're not interested in that. They just want to pick who your leader is. That's all. That's all they want to do. And if the leader of your nation says things they don't like, they just want to be able to censor them. That's it. You don't have anything to worry about from them. Of course not. Just going to interrupt for 1 second to say, if you like this content, subscribe so you can see more. Thanks a lot. But anyway, let's get to the end of this video. Forensic experts tell Wired that information from the devices is valued because it can offer a timeline of a person's activities, their location, if they're alone, and can verify statements made during questioning. Quote, usually the alibi you get is, I was at home. Nobody can confirm that, so you ask, do you have a speaker? Now, I guess if this is just going to be a thing, I guess maybe a clause where it has to be voluntary. You have to voluntarily give permission to see the data. In the case of, say, you were at home, right? And you've been accused of something and there's clear evidence that is going to clear you. I think in that case, that would be something that's useful. But, when you've got all that tasty data just sitting there, the government's going to want to get their hands on it, regardless of what you think. But anyway, all I can say is I don't like it. I think it's creepy as hell. I'm not a fan. I am not getting one of these things. Maybe eventually they'll just force us all to have one just in 1984. And they'll just be actively monitoring us all the time, willing to warn us if our mask of, ready to warn us, in case our mask of docile passivity, slips for a second. It doesn't sound like a very good future to me. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me get around the algorithm. If you'd just like to listen, there's the podcast, Radio Baloney. It's on pretty much every platform, including CastBox. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.